All right, Bloom Energy. Got to talk about it.
Yeah.
You listening out there, you interested in trading BE?
Mm-hmm.
Well, after today, who wouldn't be?
Right.
I mean, a 59% jump.
Huge.
That's a serious power move, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But what exactly fueled that surge?
Right.
What's the story behind this thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to do today. Deep dive into the why
Okay.
and what might be next for this company.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is Bloom Energy, like, they're not just some random stock
Right.
that popped,
No, not at all.
This is tied to, like, a much bigger story.
Yeah, absolutely. There are like these converging trends we're seeing
Yeah.
that are really reshaping like the whole energy landscape.
Okay.
And Bloom Energy is right in the middle of it.
So we're
We're talking about how much energy AI needs,
Yeah.
the pressure that's putting on data centers,
Yeah.
and this like desperate need for power solutions.
like reliable, clean power.
Reliable, clean, yeah.
We've got these reports from McKinsey, International Energy Agency,
Yeah.
Wall Street Journal. They're all kind of painting
Mm-hmm.
a pretty intense picture of what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Like McKinsey especially, I was reading their report.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying AI's energy consumption
It's crazy.
is going to double by 2026.
It's mind-boggling. They're basically saying it's like adding another Japan onto the world's energy grid.
That's wild.
Just for AI.
Yeah, and then you think about data centers themselves.
Right.
Like those things,
Like energy hogs.
they could be using up, what, 11, 12% of U.S. power by 2030?
Yeah, something like that.
That's a huge...
Compared to today, it's only like 3 or 4%.
Yeah, that's a massive leap.
Huge jump.
And no wonder, I was reading the Wall Street Journal,
Mm-hmm.
they're saying companies are having to wait like years just to get connected to the grid.
Just to get power. I mean...
Imagine the pressure that puts on the utilities
I know, right.
to try and keep up with that kind of demand.
It's really a perfect storm.
Well,
You got the traditional grid.
Yeah.
It's just not built for this.
It can't adapt quickly enough,
Yeah.
and companies are, like, scrambling.
Absolutely. They're like, where can we get power?
Yeah.
And that's where Bloom Energy comes in.
Right. With their, what do they call it, like
Mm-hmm.
power generators on demand or something?
Yeah, something like that.
They're
With
not
a household name?
a household name.
Not yet.
But maybe they should be after today.
Maybe so.
So remind me, what does Bloom actually do?
Okay, so they make these things called solid oxide fuel cells,
Okay.
or SOFCs, if you want to like sound really in the know.
Right, SOFC.
SOFCs.
Got it. And what do they
So
do?
basically, imagine like a power generator,
Okay.
but it's super efficient,
Okay.
and it just sits right there on site.
Right.
And it doesn't burn fuel the way like a regular generator does.
Mm-hmm.
It actually uses this electrochemical process.
So to convert fuel, like natural gas,
Okay.
directly into electricity.
So it's not like burning anything,
Right.
it's doing something else.
Yeah, it's like electrochemical magic.
All right, electrochemical magic, so it's
Fewer emissions right away.
cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're basically like bypassing the traditional grid.
Yeah, they're kind of like an off-grid solution.
That's pretty radical, honestly.
It is.
And you think about it.
It's a different way of thinking about power.
So, okay, so that's what they do, but how does that connect to this
Right.
59% jump in their stock?
Okay, so there's got to be a catalyst,
Yeah,
right?
ought to be something.
Thing that triggered this. And
Yeah,
there is,
yeah.
on November 14th, AEP,
Yeah.
which is one of the biggest utility companies in the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
they announced this deal with Bloom
Okay.
for up to 1 gigawatt.
Okay, I'm seeing dollar signs, but like
Right.
1 gigawatt, that
What does that mean?
doesn't mean a lot to me, like in the real world. Okay, think about it like this.
All right.
You've got these like modern hyperscale data centers,
Okay.
the kind that like Amazon and Google use.
Yes.
Those things need somewhere between like 20 and 50 megawatts of power each.
Wow.
This deal could potentially power like 20 to 50 of those
Oh.
massive data centers.
Okay, now you're putting things into perspective.
Yeah.
No wonder the market, like, freaked out.
Right.
It sounds like AEP is placing a pretty big bet on
A huge bet.
Bloom's technology.
Yeah.
But why? Why would they do that?
Okay, so AEP, they're facing the same challenges as other utilities.
Right, the surging demand.
Yeah, surging demand.
Data centers using tons of energy.
Exactly.
The grid can't keep up.
Yeah, they've actually already committed,
Really?
yeah, to connecting like 15 gigawatts
15 gigawatts.
of data center capacity by 2030.
Wow. Okay.
And that's over 40% of their current peak load.
So they're going to have to more than double
Exactly.
the amount of power they can supply.
That's a crazy undertaking.
It's a huge undertaking.
It sounds like they need solutions, and they need them, like, yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And, traditional grid upgrades, those take years.
Right.
Bloom's SOFCs, on the other hand, they can install those and have them operational in, like, 90 days.
Okay.
So
this deal is kind of a win-win, right?
it seems like it.
AEP gets the power it needs. Bloom gets to be, like, the hero.
Right. They're, like, the leader in this space.
Yeah. So what does this mean for, like, me?
Okay.
Someone who's, like, thinking about trading BE. What should I be watching for next?
Okay. So first of all, remember, this is just one catalyst.
Right.
It's a big one.
Okay.
But the market's unpredictable,
Right.
Even with great technology and a strong partnership, there's always risk.
So don't just jump in blindly.
No.
Just because the stock had a good day.
Exactly.
Okay, so what should I be paying attention to then? Okay, so think about those forces we were talking about.
Okay.
The growth of AI, the strain on the grid, the demand for clean, reliable energy.
Yeah.
Bloom is right in the middle of all that.
Okay.
So their future is going to be tied to how those trends unfold.
Right. Okay, so I got to keep my eye on the big picture.
Yeah.
Not just the stock price.
Exactly.
What are some, like, specific things I should be watching for?
Okay, so first and foremost, pay attention to any follow-up orders from ADP.
Okay.
Remember, they only initially ordered 100 megawatts.
Right.
They have the potential to scale up to that full gigawatt.
So each new order
could be a jump.
Could be another jump in Bloom stock.
Exactly.
Okay, so more orders from AEP, good sign.
Potentially, yeah.
What else?
Keep an eye out for any new partnerships or deals with other utilities. If other companies start following AEP's lead, it could signal, like, a bigger industry shift.
Towards Bloom.
Towards Bloom, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so more partnerships, more validation, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice.
Watch for any, like, advancements or breakthroughs in their tech. Bloom's constantly innovating.
Yeah.
Any big improvements in their SOFCs, like if they get more efficient or lower costs, that could be a big deal.
Yeah, that would be a game changer.
Absolutely.
Okay, so follow-up orders,
Yep.
new partnerships, technological advancements. These are all, like, potential catalysts that could drive the stock.
In the future.
In the future.
But, and this is a big but, we don't know when or if those will happen.
Right, so this isn't, like, a sure thing.
No.
It's not.
It's about understanding the potential, the forces at play, and then, like, watching how things play out.
So informed speculation.
Exactly.
Not blind faith.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a sense of the big picture. We got a sense of the potential catalysts.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in a bit more on the technology itself.
Right.
What makes these SOFCs so special? What are the advantages, disadvantages?
Yeah.
Compared to, like, traditional power?
Okay.
We'll dive into that right after this.
Sounds good. All right, so where were we?
SOFCs.
Right, SOFCs, solid oxide fuel cells.
Yeah, the heart of Bloom Energy.
Heart of it all, yeah.
Time to, like, really break it down.
Let's do it.
What makes them different from, just plugging into the grid? What's the big deal?
So imagine this. You've got this power generator.
Okay.
It's sitting right there at the data center, just humming along quietly.
Okay.
But it's not burning fuel like a traditional generator. It's using this electrochemical process to convert fuel, like natural gas, directly into electricity.
So fewer emissions right off the bat.
Cleaner, yeah, right there on site.
Okay, so cleaner and on site. What other advantages are there? I remember you mentioned speed earlier.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how fast can these things get up and running?
So we were talking about how traditional grid upgrades.
Yeah, they take forever.
They can take years, literally.
Right.
But these SOFCs, they can be up and running in, like, 3 months.
Wow, 3 months. That's incredible.
Think about it from a company's perspective.
Yeah.
They're trying to power some new AI project or get a data center online.
Right. They need that power now.
Time is money in this world.
Yeah. Delays can be killer.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about being green.
Right.
It's about being fast.
It's about speed.
Responsive in a world that's moving super fast.
The world doesn't wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
But what about reliability?
Oh, good point.
Like data centers, those things can't afford to go dark.
Right, not even for a second.
Even for a second.
So reliability is huge.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the key strengths of SOFCs.
Okay.
Because they have fewer moving parts than traditional generators.
Okay.
There's just less that can break down.
It makes sense.
They're really built for continuous operation.
Like 247 uptime.
Exactly. The kind of uptime that data centers need.
Okay, so we've got speed, reliability,
Yeah.
cleaner footprint.
Yep.
It sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch? There's got to be catch.
There's always a catch, right?
What's the downside?
So one of the main challenges with SOFCs right now is the upfront cost.
Okay.
They are more expensive to install
than just like plugging into the grid.
Than just connecting to the grid. Yeah, if you can connect to the grid.
Right, because we were talking earlier about how those grid connections,
they're hard to come by.
They're not easy to get.
No.
There's like waiting lists and stuff.
Years-long waiting lists, exactly.
So that's where the cost equation kind of changes, right?
It does, yeah, because if you're a company and you're facing like years of delays to get connected to the grid, those lost opportunities, that downtime, that can cost way more than the initial expense of an SOFC.
Yeah, it becomes a like short-term cost versus long-term gain.
Exactly.
So it's a trade-off.
It is.
And it sounds like companies like AEP, they're willing to make that trade-off.
They are. They're betting on the speed, the reliability, and the potential cost savings down the line.
Right. And we can't forget about sustainability.
Oh, absolutely.
Like as the world is trying to decarbonize these technologies that can run on cleaner fuels.
Cleaner fuel.
Like hydrogen. They become like even more attractive.
And more important, So
Bloom isn't just providing a solution to like today's problem.
Right.
They're positioning themselves for the future.
For the future.
Where clean energy is like the only option.
Yeah, it's a smart play.
It's a smart strategy. But Bloom's not the only player in this game, are they?
Not the only one, no.
Like the fuel cell game.
There are others, There
are other companies doing this kind of stuff.
So they're definitely a leader in the SOFC space.
Okay.
They've been around since like 2001.
Wow, okay.
They have a track record.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are other companies developing fuel cell tech. Some of them focus on different types of fuel cells, each with their own, advantages and disadvantages.
So it's a competitive landscape.
It's a competitive landscape.
So it's not a guaranteed win for Bloom.
No.
They're facing competition.
Yeah.
And they still have challenges, like bringing down those upfront costs.
Right, exactly.
That's why it's important to look like beyond the hype of this one stock surge, right?
Yeah.
And understand the bigger context. How does Bloom stack up against those competitors?
Right, exactly.
How are they innovating to like address those cost barriers?
Those are the questions investors should be asking.
Yeah, so we've got this like groundbreaking technology.
We do.
We've got this huge deal with AEP.
Yeah.
We've got a competitive landscape that's constantly evolving.
It's always changing.
It paints a picture of like a market that's ripe for disruption.
Absolutely.
But it's not a simple bet.
No.
There's a lot to consider here.
Definitely a lot to think about.
All right, so we've talked about Bloom Energy in the U.S., but how does this fit into like the global energy landscape?
Oh, that's a great question.
Where does this story go next?
Let's talk about that.
We've been talking about Bloom, their fuel cells, the AEP deal, all that. But let's zoom out, like way out.
Okay.
Big picture time.
Right.
Global energy. Where does Bloom fit into all of that?
Okay, so the International Energy Agency, IEA.
Yeah, IEA.
They have this report. It's pretty fascinating.
Okay.
They're saying global electricity demand, it's going to grow.
Okay.
Like a lot.
A lot. How much are we talking?
An average of 3.4% per year through 2026.
3.4%,
that's a lot.
That's huge. What's driving that kind of growth?
It's a bunch of things. You've got emerging economies like India. Yeah.
Their electricity demand is just skyrocketing.
As they develop.
As their populations grow, living standards rise.
Yeah.
Plus, you got data centers and all these other energy-intensive technologies.
All over the world.
Expanding all over the world.
So it's not just a U.S. thing.
Nope, it's global.
This is happening everywhere.
Yeah, it's a global phenomena.
And it sounds like a huge opportunity for Bloom.
Potentially, yeah.
If they can, step up and provide that clean, reliable power.
Especially where the grid is struggling.
Yeah, where the grid is weak, yeah.
Exactly.
That's the question, right? Can Bloom actually scale up?
Yeah, that's the multi-billion-dollar question.
Can they meet this global demand? Can they do it in a way that makes, like, financial sense?
Right. And is it environmentally sustainable?
And is it good for the planet?
All those things.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier Bloom's fuel cells. They can run on hydrogen. How does that, like, fit into the big picture? So hydrogen, it's often called, like, the fuel of the future.
Okay.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
When you produce it from renewable sources, it can be zero emission.
Wow, zero emission.
And Bloom's SOFCs, they can already run on hydrogen.
Okay.
So they're kind of like ahead of the curve.
So even as the world's shifting to, like, solar, wind, all that, there's still going to be a need for this kind of technology.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like backup power. Right.
Especially for critical stuff.
Data centers, hospitals.
We can't have those going down.
You can't mess around with that, yeah.
No.
And Bloom's not putting all their eggs in the hydrogen basket either, right?
Right. They're fuel cells. They're flexible.
Okay.
They can run on a bunch of different fuels.
Like what?
Natural gas, biogas, even landfill gas.
Wow. So they're, like, adaptable.
Very adaptable.
Whatever the market throws at them.
Exactly. They can kind of, like, adjust as things change.
Smart strategy.
Yeah, very strategic.
So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. What's the big takeaway for our listener?
Okay, so big picture.
Yeah.
Energy demand is going up.
Way up.
The grid is struggling.
Yep.
Bloom might have the solution.
With these fuel cells.
With these fuel cells, exactly.
The AEP deal, big deal.
Huge catalyst.
But it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Right. Exactly.
It's not the whole story.
It's a complex story.
So, for anyone out there thinking about trading BE, do your research.
Absolutely.
Understand the risks.
Don't just jump in blindly.
Don't get caught up in the hype.
Exactly.
All right, so we've looked at what's driving this surge. We've dug into the technology.
Yeah.
And we've zoomed out to see, like, where Bloom fits in.
In the big picture.
In the global energy transition.
Exactly.
Now it's up to you, listening, to decide if Bloom Energy is a stock for you.
To watch, to research.
To watch, to research. Potentially to buy.
Maybe.
It's a company with a bright future, maybe. But it's not a guaranteed win.
No.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Appreciate it.